First topic in probability is actually going to be just binomial expansion. All right, what are the shortcuts to expanding a binomial? And let's just kind of review quickly what I mean by expanding a binomial. It's taking like a binomial and raising it to a power. So x plus 2 to the 0 power is going to be just 1. Right? Because anything to the 0 power is 1. X plus 2 to the first power is going to be just x plus 2. When I have x plus 2 to the second power, I have to write it twice, and then FOIL. Then you get x squared plus 4x plus 4. And we can continue with this, right? I mean, x plus 2 to the third is going to be x plus 2 times x plus 2 times x plus 2. And you can do this by distributing the first binomial, this first binomial through the second binomial, and then take and distribute that third binomial through that answer. All right? It gets tedious relatively quickly. All right? Fortunately, we have a formula that will help kind of eliminate all of that work. And this is provided for you on the Regents exam. This is the formula for binomial expansion. And I have p plus q raised to the n. And we got that sigma notation again here. It's sigma, this is capital sigma. N from 0 to n, NCR, I have p to the n minus r times q to the r. Okay? And this NCR, remember hopefully you remember from your algebra course, NCR is a combination. It's selecting n things, selecting r things from a group of n where the order doesn't matter. Okay? All right, let's try here. Find x plus 5 to the fourth. All right? So what I'm going to have here is I'm going to have, and I'm not going to really use the sigma notation much. All right, what I'm going to use is, I'm going to kind of go right into this part of it. Oops, sorry. I'm going to go right into this part of it. Okay, I'm going to do NCR, P to the n minus r times q to the r. I'm not going to worry about the sigma notation. I'll just write it as a sum. P is x, q is 5, n is 4. Okay, and I need to do this from r equals 0 to n. So for the first one, I'm going to have, these are all going to be 4, C0, and then my p is x, all right, and then I have my 5, all right, like that, and it's x to the n minus r. 4 minus 0 is 4. And then it's 5 to the 0 plus 4c1. X to the 4 minus 1 is third. And then 5 to the first plus 4c2. X to the, you start to see a pattern. 4, 3, maybe 2, right? And 5 to the second, all right? And the exponents here always have to add up to n. Right? When you take n minus r plus r, that adds up to equal n, no matter what r is. All right, so plus 4c3 x to the first, 5 to the third, plus 4c4 x to the 0, 5 to the fourth. Okay, so now we've got some simplifying to do. All right, 4C0. 4C0 can be done on the calculator. That's under probability. Okay, show you where it is right here. If I can grab my calculator here. Oh, I'm going to put that back. All right, get that out of there. All right, so that's going to be under the math button for math. I go over to PRB, and you see NCR is the third choice there. So to do 4C0, that is right there, 4C0, and then enter, and you get 1. So this is going to be 1 times x to the fifth, x to the fourth, times 5 to the 0, which is 1, plus 4C1. All right, 4C1 is for math. Go over the probability, NCR 1, right? So this can be done on the calculator. Okay, so that's going to be plus 4 x to the third times 5. Okay, and now I need to do 4c2. 4, math, go over to probability, choice 3, 4c2 is 6. 6x squared times 25, because 5 squared is 25. And that's going to be plus, now I need to do 4c3. 4c3 is going to give me 4. You can evaluate that on your calculator. Just to save a little time, I'm just going to just put it down. 4c3 is 4, and then I have x, and then I have 5 to the third, which is 125, and then plus 4c4, which is 1 again, x to the 0 is 1, and then 5 to the fourth is 5 times 125, or you can do 5 raised to the fourth, either way you can get the right answer, 625. And then I just need to simplify that. Okay, so what am I going to have here? 1 times x to the fourth times 1 is x to the fourth. Okay, and then 4 times x cubed times 5 is plus 20x cubed. And then I need to do 6 times x squared times 25, which is 150 x squared. And then I need to do plus 4x times 125. So 4 times 125 is going to be 500 x. And then plus 1 times 625 is 625. And there you can see I have expanded that binomial. Now, you know, is it a lot of work? Yeah, but it's a lot easier to do that than it would have been to double distribute or FOIL a bunch of times. All right, example 2, find 2x plus 3y, all raised to the third power. Okay, so what I like to do is just think of this as a pattern kind of thing. It's a lot easier if you just think of it as a pattern, all right? I'm going to take and I start with 3c0, and then I have these two things, 2x and 3y, and then plus 3c1, 2x and 3y, plus 3c2, 2x and 3y, plus 3c3, and then I've got 2x and 3y. All right, and now all I need are the powers on the p's and the q's, the 2x and the 3y. And it starts out with the 2x has all of it, and it goes 3, 2, 1, 0, and then the other one, 0, 1, 2, 3. All right, so there we go. I mean, relatively quickly, once you practice it a couple times, and if you get going with a pattern kind of thing, it's a lot quicker. Here's a note, all right? Anything C0 is always going to be 1. So 3C0 is 1. 4C0 is 1. 10C0 is 1. And that's how many ways can I pick 0 things from 10 objects, right? There's only one way to do that. Don't pick any, okay? So that's going to be 1. 2x cubed. Now, careful here, right? It's not going to be 2 times x cubed. It's actually going to be 8x to the third, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then 3y to the 0 is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. 3c1. Whenever you have nc1, like 5c1, 6c1, it just equals the number. So 3c1 is just going to be 3. And then 2x squared is, that's going to be times 4x squared, and then times 3y to the first is 3y. All right, 3c2, all right, is going to be equal to 3. You can evaluate that with your calculator, or you can kind of take advantage of a pattern. Here I have a 1, 3, 3, and then I'm going to have a 1 again for the combinations. 3y squared is going to be 9. 3y quantity squared is 9y squared. And anytime I have 3c3 or 5c5 or 10c10, there's only one way to pick everybody. You pick everybody, right? So 3c3 is 1 times 2x to the 0 is 1. 3 cubed is going to be 27 y to the third. There we go. Okay. Now just kind of neaten this up and multiply my coefficients here. So the first term simplifies to 8x cubed plus, and then I've got 3 times 4 times 3, which 3 times 3 is 9 times 4 is 36x squared, plus 3 times 2 times 9 is 6 times 9, which is 54. Oh, I'm sorry, this was 36x squared y. I left the y out. Be careful of that, right? 54x y squared, and then the last one is going to be 27y cubed. And you can see the exponent kind of switches from the x to the y as we go on. All right, the next one is very similar, except for it has a -3. All right, so that's going to kind of impact what we have here. Since my n is 3, I'm going to have 3c0, 5x, and -3, plus 3c1, 5x, and -3, plus 3c2, 5x, and -3, and plus 3c3, 5x, and -3, like that. Okay, and remember, we start out with he has all the exponent and he loses 1 each term, 3, 2, 1, and he starts with none and gains 1 every term, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3c0 was 1, remember. 5x cubed, quantity cubed, is going to be 125x to the third times 1 for -3 to the 0. It's going to be plus, 3c1 is 3. 5x squared is going to be 25x squared. That's going to be times a -3. All right, and then plus 3c2, which is also 3, times 5x, times, when you do -3, in the parentheses squared, that's a +9, plus 3c3, which is 1, 5x to the 0 is 1, and -3 cubed is -27. Okay, so what do I get? 125x cubed plus, I've got to do 3 times 3, which is -9 times 25. Okay, -9 times 25 is -225x squared. Then you do 3 times 5 times 9, which is going to be a positive. This one's going to be a positive. 15 times 9 is 135x, and then minus 27. So you see there it kind of alternates between positives and negatives. Okay. All right, the only thing we have left to do is find a specific term in the expansion, rather than finding the entire expansion, which to find a specific term, you could find the whole expansion and then go from there, or you could kind of take a shortcut to it. Okay, so if I want to find the third term in the expansion, and they tell me, remember r equals 0 is the first term, that means for the third term my r is going to actually be 2. So for the third term, I'm actually going to have 5c2 and 2x and 3, okay, and this is going to be 2, and this one's going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3, like that, okay? So if I want to know 5c2, you know, I can, again, we haven't done one of those yet, let's try that. 5, math, over to PRB, remember 3, and then 5c2 gives me a 10, all right? So that's going to be 10. And then 2x quantity cubed is 8x to the third, and then 3 squared is 9. So I have 8 times 9 times 10, which is 720x to the third. Okay? And that right there is the third term. Okay? I got that because I set r equal to 2 for the third term. If you're having trouble with that, then just start the expansion. You don't even need to fill it all in. You just need that third term to know what the third one is. To find the middle term, okay, to find the middle term, you're going to pick the value that's going to be like kind of in the middle of the expansion. So I would almost recommend, like, right, 6c0, 6c1, 6c0, 6c1, 6c2, 6c3, 6c4, right, 6c5, 6c6, right? So if I go towards the middle here, taking one off from each side, right, this right here, 6c3, all right, is what I'm going to be using here. And then it's x, and then it's -3. Remember, this 3 agrees with this, and that one's going to be 3 as well. All right, and then you evaluate it from there. Okay, we'll finish in class. Good luck.